do you like being a teacher here in the UK, and perhaps some differences between like being a teacher here and being a teacher in France, with the point of view of us, like I think that because we had a lot of teachers where we were younger, but also like the teachers, like I was personally a flow teacher in France, so I have my personal point of view and some thoughts about it. So
I think being a teacher here is great because obviously it's different, different culture, so education is also going to be different. One of the main differences between France and England that I can think of right now is basically, I think from my experience as a student, obviously I've never taught in France, but it feels like in England teachers are more student-centered, and what I mean by that is that all the way you plan your lesson will be around the students, so there'll be this principle of differentiation, which is to basically adapt to the level of the students, which when I was young I don't think happened really. Like it was either sink or swim, so either you have the level to of the lesson, either you're just lost and there's nothing they can do for you, But in England it's not like that. Even if a student has difficulties, still need to think of what kind of activities they're going to do, which can be quite challenging, but I think it has a point. I think it's a good idea, because in France we just tend to not help students that struggle the most, which doesn't help, because if they struggle and you don't give them any help, then why would they try anymore? They just give up, I think.
Yeah, that's good what you say, because like we can talk a little bit about the education, like the British school system, about the education. And personally, when I see what it is in France, based on what we knew when we were younger about personal like school years and stuff, I feel like in France, like I've been told that in France we are the the leaders when it comes like to stressful lessons. It's very stressful.
Oh really?
We are just like behind South Korea about stress in school. So it's like quite a shame.
We do have a lot of work. We work a lot, I think, in schools.
Yeah, working a lot.
12 subjects.
Exactly. We end up like the lessons, like in high school, it's like 5 p.m. or something like this.
Yeah,
6 p.m.
From
sometimes.
8 till 5:30 sometimes I did,
Yeah, and here like they end up like their course like at 3:30, so they have time like to to do their homework in the afternoon, perhaps practice some sport, which is not the case in France.
Which is good, I think, actually, because
that's much better.
Yeah, they need to like have the time to do activities and just living your life. They're young.
That's not so good. Like personal work is really important. Not only like sitting in a chair and hey for hours like the teachers speaking. And I personally think like when I did university, I just found out that you really need to work on your own. It's really important. And I think you need to be prepared doing that from high school, from secondary school, and not to wait until the university to do that. Definitely. But in France, we work like until 6. It's crazy. It's like even when it's free, like I feel like some British people are kind of bored of this. Like they don't like. I've school until 3, that's a lot, but in France until 6. Like
whenever they said, I'm actually like, kids, when I was young, I would finish school at 5, and they're like, wow. So it says a lot.
I think that's one of the questions that Camille asked on Facebook. Hello, if you see this video. So Camille, basically, she asked me, perhaps our opinions about the British system in comparison with the French one, if there are some advantages that you can find in the British system that you can't find in the French one, or the other way around, simply. So what do you think about this?
Well, I don't know for you, but what I've noticed is I feel like in England, teachers are more creative. For example, in my lessons, and it's not something I would find in France. I remember using lessons, I sang in a lesson, trying to teach them vocabulary. I used the song of Let It Go, I think, to teach school subjects. So it's quite a fun lesson. Then you can kind of include some like art as well. You can ask them to draw something, or there's some activities you can do around drawing. So you can use like more creative skills, I think, which is interesting. But I think in France we don't really do that. It's more like textbook learning,
theoretical.
You listen to the teacher, you repeat, blah blah blah. So it's not as interactive.
The book, and it's really like magistral with France. Like the university,
like a lecture basically,
and that's a model at university. It was like that, but when you do that for secondary school, high school, it's really boring. I think you get bored pretty easily. So it's really important to be creative to come up with other ideas for your course, like doing music, doing other stuff.
And you can in languages, yeah, definitely.
And I wish there would be like some, some training about that, because that's not really, that doesn't really matters when there is like, I don't know how it works for the PGCE, but like for the CAPES in France, we don't really train the teachers like to come up with good ideas and to be like fascinating to the pupils when they follow a lesson. It's
more academic, I think, the CAPES.
But I did a master's FLE, and in FLE we do focus on how to make a lesson really fascinating, and how to, I don't know, like to be dynamic, and it's really important that the pupils they act on their own.
Yes, I think it's a new trend in teaching, trying to engage the students, make the lessons more fun and interesting. Well, before it was just like, as we said, like a lecture almost, like going to the uni class, I guess. I think it's good. Is there anything else you've noticed about the British system that you thought was good, maybe? Or
for me, I like, as you said, it's quite true. They do encourage pupils every time, and they don't blame them for their mistakes. I think it's the main difference, because in France, when you do a mistake, above all for foreign languages, wow, you're so bad, your accent is so bad. Even obviously, it's not the case everywhere. Like university, as everyone wasn't so good when it came to speaking or like practicing your language skills. It was okay, but I do remember when I was in high school, or like even after, like in high school, when someone was bad in German, for instance, like everyone would say you're so piece of trash because you can't say a word in German, and you've been like learning it for 4 years. How do you come up like not being able to say a single word? That's so I don't know. But here I don't feel this is the same. I didn't feel it was the same in Germany either. We do encourage pupils to learn further and to be, to do some progress in languages. So.
One thing I would say that's kind of negative in the way languages are taught in England is that sometimes it's not always interesting, because I know for GCSE they do like topics such as when I go on a holiday, or like it can be kind of baby language. I guess it's not a language that's very interesting for them. I guess like students, they want to be able to talk about, I don't know, a TV show, or like something cool, like more interesting topics. Sometimes it can be a bit boring. So it's not perfect, obviously. I think.
Sometimes it can be too academical, I would say. Like they follow the rules that are like they're bound to follow, but like you need to talk about your family because it's important, like pour la survie, you would say in French, like survival. Yes, and so if you are like in a desert island, you need to figure problems out and need to survive. But obviously, sometimes it's more like, it's better like to speak about like things you truly want to speak about, not only
it's motivating as well.
Of course.
Another thing actually I would say that I don't really like, I guess, about the English system is that like there isn't a lot of grammar, which is an issue for me, because as a linguist, for me, I don't see how you can speak a language without grammar. Having said that, it is possible to speak a language without grammar. It can make sense without grammar, but at the same time, I think it helps to have a bit of a good grasp of grammar, I think, though. So I think they should do ideally a bit more grammar, but that's my opinion. Especially in French. French is quite a grammatical language.
But when you that's good that you talk about grammar, but because I do remember in France that we did focus a lot on the grammar, even though you couldn't.
Maybe too much.
We couldn't say like, "Hello, how are you? What's your name?" And we knew like, okay. Present perfect, that kind of stuff.
Auxiliaries.
We don't give a fuck. Like really, when we are in secondary school, we don't give a fuck about present perfect. You need a to be. We talk too much about linguistics, and in secondary school we are like babies. We don't give a fuck about like the terms and the names of the things. When you're in university, that's fine, but otherwise, like it's way too early to talk about grammar.
I think we need to slow down on that, or like kind of tone it down.
Then again, I do compare with FLE, because in FLE, FLE, the masters I did, we do focus about like pragmatic. We call it like compétences pragmatiques. It's about things like are useful to someone, and we do focus on acte de parole. I don't know if you know what it is.
No, I don't know what it is.
Perhaps if some assistants who watched this video did a master FLE, because there are couples of them who did that, they know what I'm talking about. It's like acte de parole is like, you know, the things you should be able to do in order to survive, as I said. So like you go to a boulangerie, how do you say?
A bakery,
Bakery, yeah. Bäckerei. I was like mixing up with German.
Bakery.
Bäckerei in German. Like, yeah, you go like to a bakery and then you ask like the boulanger.
I think it's speech acts in English. Speech acts. I remember that expression.
Yeah, so you ask
request.
Basically, you are a customer. You need like to order a baguette or something like this. It's really important, and you should be able to do that. It doesn't matter if you say me want baguette. Doesn't matter as long as you're able to deliver a message. That's one important, and that's the compétence pragmatique, compétence discursive, whatever it is. Like acte de parole is what we work on FLE. And the grammar is not important at first. It can be important from A to B1. You start reading the grammar, but before it's not relevant.
Sure.
So let's move on to the Kevin. What are the things about the British culture that you prefer? What things in the French culture do you prefer in comparison to the British one?
I mean, I wouldn't generalize because I only live in Brighton, and I know some people that watch this might not agree that I generalize because England is quite a diversified culture, I think. But what I like about Brighton, which is where I live, is the fact that Brighton is quite an open-minded city. So, for example, like LGBT people are quite accepted. Like no one will give a shit actually if you like holding your boyfriend's hand in the street or something like that, or like you can dress the way you want. I mean, for example, you can also speak like the language you want. No one will like kind of judge you. But in other countries or in other cities, people might just like give you the looks and be like, "Oh, why is this?" Or like kind of make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. There's something I quite enjoy. Something else that I enjoy, and that's because I'm a food lover, is the fact that vegetables and fruits are much cheaper than in France. Which is a big deal for me. I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel like in France bananas are like €2.50, but in England they're like 70p a kilo, so it's a big difference.
Yeah. There are some products, definitely there are some products that are cheaper here in the UK in comparison with France. We're gonna talk about it because I was quite surprised when I found out about this, but the price of the fast foods here are so cheap. It's crazy. Like McDonald's, cheap, like you can have a whole menu like for £3, but in France, like for the same thing, it's €10. Like it's 3 times.
It's crazy.
More expensive. I do tell you this. You have to trust us because it's true. Really, £3 you can have like the maxi best of. And I don't like. Sometimes like because of the price, I gotta get around to eating much more fast food like I did in France because I can spare some money because of this. It's quite impressive, really.
It's better value, definitely.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. So, what type of food do you like?
What I like in England, I like gravy. I don't know if you've tried gravy. It's like the sauce you pour on the meat and stuff.
Is it the sauce like we do use like for
Sunday roast?
Because like when I eat at the restaurant in schools, they do put like some brown sauce.
I think that's
on
gravy.
The meat. I think it's this one.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's nice.
Yeah, that's okay. And they put it separately from time to time, so you can feel free like to add some gravy.
You can just add to your food.
I quite like it, I would say.
Yeah. Anything else? I like crumpets as well. I mean, I mentioned that in one of my videos. It's like basically, I don't know what to describe it. It looks like honey hive. Like that's how you describe it.
That's this thing. Yeah. I never tasted so far. I've just been here for 4 months. We've been here.
You've got a lot to discover yet. But this is something I recommend eating. Yeah, crumpets. They're quite a big thing. You can have them with butter. You toast them. It's kind of like a toast but pancake at the same time, I guess. What about you? What are the things you like? Eating, maybe.
For the food, obviously I think I do prefer the French one.
I mean, come on.
I quite like the fish and chips. Honestly, I never like got around to eating that much before. So yeah, I do think it's okay. I quite like it.
I don't like fish and chips. It's weird. Like the first time I tried it, like Maybe it was
well,
a cheap one.
it has to be well prepared because
Maybe,
you
yeah.
don't have any sauce with it. You know,
Well, no, it wasn't the sauce. It was just like I tried to eat it. It was so greasy. It was like, oh, it was gross. I just threw it away, and then never tried fish and chips again. Well, I did a little bit, but you know, not that often.
The only thing with the fish and chips is that you don't have, if you don't have any sauce, it's totally tasteless. Sometimes that's the case. I do it like a hot dog sometimes, and they don't add the sauce with it, and it's totally tasteless. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
But if you have a good fish and chips, sometimes it's totally worth it.
You make me hungry now. Thank you for that.
Yeah, totally. We're gonna eat after the video. Gonna eat much more. You know,
I'll get fish and chips.
Maybe
Maybe.
we've been filming this video the whole day, and we're kind of hungry right now. It's like, yeah.
And
So,
what are the foods that you miss, like from France? Like if you wish you could have it in England or for cheaper, because sometimes you can buy the stuff. But
the food that I miss when I'm here, I don't really know because I like to taste different things all the time. But I have a friend, she may be watching this video, called Leah, and she's an assistant. She lives here, so really close to where I live.
should have come over.
She could have came over, and she like she miss. She always tells me that because when I meet her actually, and she says that she like quenelle. And she can't find it in the UK. Quenelle. She says, "Oh, I really want to eat quenelle, but there's no quenelle. I did all the stores here in the UK. I can't find it. That's a shame."
Yeah,
you know?
I've never seen it. No.
Yeah, and that's quite like a weird request, you know, because like it's not as if like you were saying I want some foie gras or I don't know, that kind of stuff. You know, I have some pupils they weren't even aware that foie gras did exist. And it's not like for Christmas. I did like a course about Christmas, and I told them at the end, do you know foie gras? Do you like it? What's foie gras? They weren't aware that
they're not impressed when we tell them how it's
pretty
made.
famous, you know. Yeah. But yeah, so quenelle, she said, and perhaps other stuff. But you know, sometimes you can have some specific things that you can't really find here, or you can find it in special stores, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Waitrose, you can have some French food sometimes.
that's true.
Expensive.
That's why I come to Waitrose more often.
That's why, yeah.
Yeah.
I go there for my French food, definitely. Not for the rest, though. It's a bit expensive.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So, Kevin, do you mainly watch French, Portuguese, Japanese, or English videos on YouTube, and why? And what type of language is the most interesting for you to watch on YouTube?
Actually, I don't really watch a lot of French YouTubers. I prefer to watch English or English-speaking YouTubers. I'm not sure why. I think I just enjoy English and listen to English all the time, so that may just be the reason. And there's also a bit more content out there, I guess.
Of course.
But to be fair, I haven't really explored the French side of YouTube that much. I mean, I know a little bit, but not enough. But I'm sure there's great stuff out there.
For me, that's the main point. Is that when you watch content in a foreign language, like if you watch content in English, you gotta have like much more choices that if it were in your mother tongue. For instance, I do read a lot of English books because you did a video about like about reading
7 tips to read in a foreign language.
That's the video that worked the most. Surprisingly, really, you reached like up to
2,000 views actually.
More than 2,000.
I thought it was my worst video because it's one of the first ones, but
one of the first ones. But actually, the subject is really important, and I think it's really interesting, like to read books in a foreign language. Definitely,
it's a great way to practice as well.
So I can show them an extract about this beautiful video.
Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is Kevin from the channel Kevin Abroad, and today we're going to talk about reading in a foreign language. I decided to make this video because for me reading in a foreign language has had a very good impact on my language learning experience. If you have never tried reading a book in a foreign language before, or maybe you have tried but you feel that you haven't been that successful at it, then this video is definitely for you. Before I get started on giving you some tips on how to go about reading books in a foreign language, I'd like first to give you a few reasons as to why we should bother reading books in a foreign language in the first place. A great advantage is that when you read a book in a foreign language, you're exposed to a lot more vocab than you would be if you were just simply having conversations with native speakers, for example. Also, as you read more and more books, you'll be exposed to a lot of vocab in context, which is quite useful when you want to know how native speakers use those words, right? adding to that, you'll progressively get used to the rhythm and the grammar of the language without even realizing it. Finally, the more you read, the more fluent you'll get. Therefore, you'll have access to even more material because sometimes books or articles are only available in the language that you're learning. And isn't reading just the best thing ever anyway? Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to give you tips now. Let's go.
Yeah, basically, so I hope you enjoyed the extract. And what I like about like reading or watching English videos like in a language that's not your mother tongue, especially in English because that's the language of the world, obviously, is that imagine like you want to be better, to get better at a specific field, a specific domain. There is like my father, notably, he likes like everything about astronomy, you know. And I told him like he was fascinated about astronomy, and he was reading French content every time, you know? French websites, whatever, French videos. And I told him if you were able to read in English, you would have learned so much about astronomy that you are not even aware in French. Definitely. It's not because French are like bad at astronomy, not at all. It's like English has so much more options.
There's more research as well in English.
More things, like more of everything in every domain whatsoever.
Even linguistics, definitely.
Linguistics, art, music, everything. And so you're bound to find out more interesting content about what you need to watch, see. And then, like for me, I wanted to get better at doing videos. I did watch videos in English about it. I did read a little bit of English books about it, and I got better over time because of it. And yeah, and whatever it may be, like can be psychology. I like psychology personally, you know, and yeah, whatever it may be, you get better at it. And I was talking about it with an assistant when I was in Manchester, because he's not like keen on practicing English so much and or reading content. And I told him like you could learn so more, and you know you could enjoy like doing appreciating things of life and getting more knowledge in the subject if you want to improve in this subject, for instance.
Yeah, and the good thing as well about reading and watching videos, same thing, is that if you like psychology, astronomy, whatever it is, then you can use videos or books to even work on your language skills while doing something you love. So I think that's why books and the internet now is great to like practice languages. I think you should do that. You know, if you practice languages doing something that is actually interesting to you, that's like double win, I think.
Yeah, and I remember like there's my brother who is fascinated, like he's fond of fishing, you know. He did work in a fishing company.
Yeah, you told me that.
I think I told you, and there was like fishing for dummies in English, and there is a la pêche pour les nuls in French. And you just typing on Amazon, simply that, you could bump into a book with 1,000 pages about fishing. Everything you have to know about fishing. You read simply. You read this book, you're like a killer about fishing. You know,
fishing
everything.
master.
And in French, like it was like a book, like a very small book with no content. Like in 1 hour or two, you had perhaps the basic about it, but les nuls and dummies is like the translation for les nuls, and you have so much more content. It's so much more interesting.
That's one of the main advantages, I think. Well, one of advantages of learning English, that you access much more resources, videos, films, text, like written sources, like that stuff. Like it's great. It's great language to know.
Exactly. And at the same time, you learn more and you progress in the language.
Exactly.
So you progress in English, and I won't talk too much about all the advantages because you did a video about it, and we showed just one extract. But as you said in this video, simply you're gonna learn things in context. That's the most powerful thing.
Yeah, context is important.
And context is everything in language. You're not even aware of using the words you use, or even the intonation, pronunciation, everything you hear like on the street, on books, on TV, everywhere, with the musics. Musics are really good to learn language. For me,
music,
it's one of the most powerful tools to me.
I even did like a dissertation during my PGCE about like the use of music in the language classroom. So music is good. Listen to music.
To last question then.
Last and not
Shall we?
Yeah.
It's about our future projects. So do you have other projects in the future about YouTube, about whatsoever?
Well, what I've been thinking of doing is lately is to do more vlogs, but not just vlog like I'm gonna tell you about my boring life. It's more like vlogs when I travel or if I see something interesting, like I've done with Japan, for example. And I would also like to kind of start reviewing some resources. So like I've been wanting to do actually the Duolingo Japanese course because it's new, and like it would be interesting to kind of give some feedback about the app as well, and just maybe reviewing some books. I've been working on the, studying the book, Japanese from Zero, so it's a book I've been wanting to review, so when I finish the book I will like maybe give a review. So I think we don't have enough reviews like that on YouTube, so it could be a nice addition.
Yeah, and for me it's exactly the same than you. I would like to talk more about some books that I read that I think can be really useful about psychology, as well as like doing videos in general, because I read lots of books about it, and we call it like self-help, I think. So it's really something I'm fond of, not only languages but also these subjects are really fascinating. And I would like to do like more challenges, as I said earlier.
I love your challenges, they're good, they're a good idea.
As you said, you're gonna like do some reviews about applications, mobile applications to learn languages and stuff. And I will definitely do that about like Tandem. Talk about in like the third video about my Russian challenge, because I did use it like to practice some Russian, and it was funny at the time. Like I would like to talk more about this because I was a bit addicted to this application once, and I had to delete it in order to rule a normal life.
Really?
Yeah, really. No, really, I was literally, that's not exaggerating, I was using like I think 10 hours a day.
You were doing 10 hours of language every day?
10 hours like of talking to people in German, in other languages.
That's good though, you're doing something productive and useful.
For instance,
Maybe do it a bit less.
If you want to practice Japanese, you can use Tandem, and you can bump into other persons on this application who speak Japanese, who want to learn French. You do like video calls with them directly.
You can do video calls.
Yeah, you do video calls on Skype, you can give reviews, you can send audio messages directly.
It's a bit like Hello Talk. I don't know if you heard about Hello Talk. It's like a pen pal kind of app, so maybe it's a bit the same principle, I guess. Yeah.
So definitely it would be interesting to add some more of this content on my channel, but like still with this humoristic way that I like to do. Like, and other projects, plenty of other projects. You know, we talked about music earlier, and I'm really fond of like DJs in general. So I like to do more reviews about like DJs, why I like it, what I've been listening to all these years in the language that concerns the DJ. For instance, like if I do the name of the show will be Parlons DJ. And I talk like, if I talk about a German DJ, I would do the video in German. If I talk about like I'll do mainly it in English, and when the DJ is like from Belgium, we'll do it in French. And I thought about like, because I started Dutch as well at one time, I thought about like doing some videos like Parlons DJ in Dutch one day, you know, because like so many DJs speak Dutch.
Yeah, that's true.
Mainly Swedish, because they are from Sweden, most of them, and then Dutch is the second most popular nationality for DJs. So yeah, definitely feel free to subscribe to my channel. Follow all these projects, and feel free to subscribe to Kevin's Abroad's channel.
Actually do that now, like right now. Go for it.
By clicking on the link on the description.
It'll be somewhere on the screen.
By the way, I will have all the links about the videos we talk in this video, and everything like related to the video about like you know, like the applications, that kind of stuff. I will add all of this in the description.
And if you have any questions, please ask us in the comment section. It's there for that, I guess.
So that was quite a long video.
I
don't know how it lasts, but
we did it.
So I was really happy to welcome Kevin, Mr. Abroad, at my place here in London. I hope you enjoyed this experience with me. And
I very much did. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I was quite happy. We're gonna do other projects together, I guess, in the future. It's really interesting, really and doing a video in English is always interesting anyway. Yeah,
I think one of the goals of my channel was to kind of connect with other people that like languages, so I'm glad we did that. It's great.
And of course, I send this video, I try to send it to the CREP if they are interested in watching it, or as well as other organizations, perhaps like Erasmus or that kind of things. Thanks for watching this video, guys. And I hope I'm gonna see you in the future.
See you later.
See you later.
Ouais, on l'a fait. Wouh.